So could you please maybe describe in a little bit more detail what kind of competition you're talking about?
So obviously ZDP is polar. So it has to react under temperature and load to create that phosphate glass film that we all talk about that provides that very thick, robust anti-wear film. Detergents are also polar, especially calcium based detergents are very polar. So what was happening, and we'll call it the mid 2000s with API SM, is you had calcium tended to do pretty good in terms of it's a lower friction, right? That's one of the big things between calcium and magnesium is that magnesium tends to be a really great detergent in terms of it's got really great acid neutralization ability, right? So it really can give you a lot of TBN for a small dose, but tends to be kind of poor on friction. So in that mid 2000 era, what you saw was a lot of the additive package uh, went towards very high level of calcium because that calcium was a lower friction. So it would give you fuel economy. That's great. The problem was that was super high level of calcium. There was so much competition at the surface level between the detergent and the ZDP that you had very splotchy ZDP films, which at lower valve spring pressures, lower loads, and not a big problem. Higher pressures, higher loads, big problem. And that's where this stuff came around. Interesting. I see these people talking about SP oils and how the new SP and the Dexos Gen 2 or the Gen 3 oils have, lower calcium, they're lower TBN. And let's just say it, right? I can hear the people looking down their nose at it like it's somehow another is not good. Reality is it's better. When we first started testing some of the SN plus oil, we did a lot of valve train testing where we're taking flat tappet engines and we're measuring all 16 lobes on non-phosphated cams, right? Because what back in the day, the 3G test used a cam that had a break-in coating on the camshaft. Okay, well that's kind of masks what the oil does. So we work with competition cams here in the US and made special cams for our own version. We'll call it a racing 3G, essentially, no break-in coating.
Mm.
So the oil was the only thing that was going to do the job. That way you could really see what those chemistry differences was. So of course, like any good test, you have to have reference oils. When you get a new batch of cams, you got to run the known good reference, the known bad reference. Well, the known bad reference was an off the shelf oil. Well, all of a sudden we go and we run our known bad reference oil. And it's like, this is like way better than it's been. It's like you guys ground the camshafts wrong. It went from SN to SN plus. When you look at the used oil from that test, the difference was the ZDP was the same. The detergent package had changed. So then we went on a little mission. All right, we're going to go grab a bunch of the other known bad oils we ran in the past. We're going to run them again. They all ran good,
Yeah.
like better than before. What was the difference? When we went to SN plus and SP, we changed that balance. So from a wear protection standpoint, we've seen an increase in wear protection via the decrease in calcium, the elimination of sodium, because obviously sodium is really bad for low speed preignition, high level of calcium, really bad for low speed preignition. So that's a positive change. And TBN to me is something that is a dinosaur. It's a relic from the past that was for high sulfur fuels. And I know there are some places in the world that still high sulfur fuels. So I'll put a big asterisk on my statement there that if you have high sulfur fuels, it is something you need to watch. But if you're, in Australia, if you're in North America, you don't have high sulfur fuels. Uh, don't worry about TBN. That's not what you need to be focused on. In fact, these race oils, because of that super low detergent level, I mean, we would have oils that if you look at the total base number brand new, it'd be like 1.7, 2. out of the bottle,
Yeah.
with an acid level almost the same. A lot of times when you had very high spring loads, you actually needed true EP additives. So you had to have some active sulfur in the oil. So when you were formulating that oil, and that's one thing we did, you know, obviously working with Lubrizol, we didn't have to start with an additive package. We weren't starting with a PCMO and then, down treating it, adding stuff to it. We always, from day one, component formulated every oil. We never used a DI package.
Mm.
We made the oils component by component. So, a normal race oil blend may have 14 or 15 different components in it, including, all the base oils and co-base stocks and stuff. But to me, that's what gave us a really great insight into how oils work.